Hello and welcome to In Business, our look at the world of business, industry and commerce in and around the Liverpool City region. I'm Peter Berry, and joining me in the studio are our resident experts Jackie Lee and Lynn Boyd from the Business Development Club. This week we begin by looking at a topic that's important for all businesses, new, established, small and large, if they employ at least one person, and that is the legal responsibility to provide a pension for eligible employees. Joining us today is Les Clare, the owner of LWC Business Consulting Limited, an expert in this field and someone who could provide help and assistance should you need it. So how do we make sure that we meet the legal requirements under the pensions law? Jackie, over to you.
Hi Les, thanks very much for coming in today. We really want you to help us guide people through the maze of auto-enrolment. So it'd be great if you could give us some background, because we know it's been around a while.
It certainly has, yeah. It was introduced by the Pensions Act of 2008 and it became live in 2012. So it's as you say, it's been around for a little while now. It started off with a small number of very large employers, but we've now got to a stage where probably in the region of maybe 2 million small businesses are going to start to be affected by it over the next 2 years.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So it really is something that should be close to business people's heart, yeah, whether it's large or small.
Yeah, anybody who employs at least one person, wow. As Peter said in the introduction, will have to comply with the legislation. And there will be quite severe penalties if they don't comply with the legislation. So it's not something that they should ignore. I would say that if an employee gets a letter from the pensions regulator, the pensions regulator is a body that's been set up by Parliament to oversee this process. So if they do get a letter from the pensions regulator, which they will at some stage, normally about 12 months before their staging date, then they should start to plan for auto-enrolments at that point.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more about the staging date, just for those people who perhaps aren't aware of the terms, etc.
Yes, certainly. The staging date is the date that the legislation will apply to that particular business. Right. So that's the day that they've got to be ready to comply with the legislation. So what it actually means is that they're going to have to start to assess their staff. So they will look at their staff and say that there's going to be 3 categories which the staff could potentially fall into. Right. So if anybody is aged over 22, under their state pension age, and earning over £10,000 a year, they're going to be classed what is called eligible employee. Yeah. So they're going to have to be automatically enrolled into the pension. So what that means is that the employer is going to have to put them into the pension scheme without the employee taking any action whatsoever.
Right, okay.
So there are going to be other staff, so those under 22 but over 16, or those over their state pension age up to 75 who are earning over £10,000, or anybody who's earning over £5,682, £862 a year up to £10,000. They will not be automatically enrolled, but they have a right to opt into the pension. So if they choose to opt into the pension, the employer must put them in, and they will have to pay into that pension as well for them.
All right, so there's quite a lot of things to take into account. So it's really important that businesses do take it on board that they need to get some help.
They do, yeah. What I would suggest is there's going to be lots of sources for help. Obviously, there's people like myself who can offer advice and help them to choose a pension scheme and to set it up and to administer it. But there's also going to be accountants, there'll be IFAs, there'll be payroll providers, etc. So there's going to be lots of sources for people to go to look at that.
So there's lots of organisations out there then at the moment, Les, the larger organisations, they're kind of probably a little bit more comfortable with this because they've obviously got their set departments, they've got people looking at it for them, and they haven't got the worry that maybe a smaller organisation would have. So what would your tips be then to a smaller organisation where maybe they haven't got an HR department or they haven't got an admin department? What would you suggest to them they need to start doing now to make sure that they're set up in the right way?
I would suggest that the most important thing they can do is to start to plan for auto-enrolment. Don't leave it to the last minute. I have had some clients come to me who have actually passed the staging date, which is not totally catastrophic as long as we can catch up within 3 months, but I wouldn't advise that.
So can I just ask then, the staging date, that is nominated in the letter that they receive, is it?
They can
Okay.
also check it, their staging date on the pension regulator website.
Okay.
So an employer can go onto the pension regulator website, put in their PAYE reference, and that will actually tell them when their staging date is.
Right,
So
okay.
if they want to know before they get their letter, then they can do that as well.
Okay.
So yeah, they need to plan. They need to think about who actually runs their payroll. Do they do it themselves? Do they outsource it to an accountant or a payroll provider?
Yeah.
And if they do it themselves, if they use software or they don't use software, how are they going to actually manage this process?
Right.
The key to it all is going to be probably effective payroll software to do it. From my experience, there's lots of various payroll softwares out there. Some will do next to nothing. Some will do the whole process for them. But they will actually have to put their staff into the pension scheme. They're going to have to contribute, and every time they run their payroll, they're going to have to calculate how much to put into the pension.
Right.
Yeah, I think
okay.
that's a thing, isn't it? It's about the ongoing needs, and I know that's where you can actually help people.
That's
it's
right.
not just let's get auto enrolment under our belt.
Yeah.
It's actually what goes on after that.
Yeah, so first of all, they're going to have to choose which pension to go into. So they may already have a pension scheme up and running. If they have, they're going to actually have to see whether that's going to be suitable for auto-enrolment, because a lot of the old-style pension schemes won't actually be suitable for auto-enrolment because they don't meet the new requirements, such as I said before, that they have to be automatically enrolled. So if the employer has to sign a piece of paper to say they agree to it, that's not automatic. So they may have to review that or amend their current pension scheme or decide to go with the new pension scheme. And that's really where they need to start asking questions about what is suitable for them and how they do it. So they've chosen a pension scheme. They then need to decide who is actually going to be responsible for the various steps.
Okay.
So they're going to have to communicate with every member of staff as well. So as we said before, there's 3 categories of staff. So you're going to have to tell your staff as an employer what category they fall into and whether or not they're going to be automatically enrolled into the pension scheme and what their rights are. So there's a minimum set of information that they have to be provided with. And once again, that's laid out in the pension regulator's website.
Right.
So they can either use a template which is provided by the pension regulator, which says this is the minimum information, or as I said before, if you have software, some software packages will actually generate that letter for you to
Okay.
send it to your staff.
But you can take all that away, can't you?
I can take all that away from the staff. I can offer any employer as much or as little input as they want from myself to do that. So I can help them choose a scheme, set it up, get them to the staging date, make sure that they're compliant, and then let them run with it themselves or with their accountant. Or I can then actually take on the administration, because once you get there, every time you're on your payroll, you're going to have to extract a report, get the information passed across to your pension provider, and make sure that it goes, and make sure that the contributions are taken out at the right time as well.
And I think that it's not. It can be different every month, can't it? Depending what the employee earns.
Yeah, and
as
that's
that
probably one of
changes.
the most critical parts of it, is that because of those figures I mentioned before, when I said £10,000 a year is the cut-off for people being eligible, that is not how much they cumulatively earn in a year. So if you pay somebody on a monthly basis, say, which quite a lot of businesses do these days, that turns out to £833 a month. So you could get an employee, particularly with variable pay and hourly rates, say they earn £830 one month, they're not eligible, so they don't have to be enrolled. The next month, you pay them some overtime, some bonus or something, they earn £840. They're then an eligible employee.
Yeah.
So the following month, you would have to potentially enrol them. Now, there are ways you can look at that if you're on variable pay and that employee is likely to maybe drop down back below £830 a month. Thereafter, you can actually use something called postponement, and that really is where I can come in to talk through with employees in those sorts of situations to help them to say, well, if you use postponement, that might actually take away the pain of putting somebody in for 1 month, and then you're not going to contribute for them sort of thereafter if they fall below the minimum contribution levels.
So I suppose really what we're saying here then is it's quite a complex, ongoing process that needs to be followed.
Yeah.
Once you've enrolled your employees,
Yeah.
you've got to really keep on top of it and make sure, as you do with HMRC or
That's
current
right.
legislation, you've really got to embed that within your business.
Yeah, it is just like your monthly PAYE return.
Yeah.
You have to do a
Yeah.
monthly PAYE return, then you'll also have to do a monthly submission to a pension provider. As I say, software can make it a lot easier, but you still need to make sure that as an employer, you know who is going to be doing what what tasks. So, you know, who's going to send out the letters? Who's going to send the money across to the pension provider? Being clear on what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. And as I say, that is where you need to have that plan in place and make sure that they know who is responsible for what part of that.
So we have you, Les, that individuals can contact, and in a second we'll kind of give those details out. I'm thinking it might be a good idea as well for us maybe to have something on the Business Development Club website.
Yes.
Where we could maybe give some tips to viewers in terms of what they need to be doing and when they need to be doing it, so that we're really setting everybody up so there's no kind of shocks in the future if something hasn't been done in the right way.
Well, I do have a slide which I can provide to you there, which will say,
Brilliant.
these are the steps that you need to take to make sure that you comply with this. And yeah, I can certainly help you out with that side of things for you as well.
I'm going to ask a quick question now, just in terms of pensions as a pension question. A lot
Right.
of individuals who move into their own businesses have obviously worked in organisations beforehand and maybe have contributed to pension schemes, workplace pensions. I myself, I know I've got a couple of those that are frozen at the moment. Would now be the right time to actually start looking at that for those who haven't and maybe get everything into place to move forward?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and something, as you say, which is quite topical now, because lots of people do have, you know, they move around for various jobs. It's probably beyond the scope of what we could discuss here today, because I can't actually give advice under that. You do need to be regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority to give individual advice rather than talking through the schemes with employers. What I'd say there is that if anybody's in that situation, once they've been enrolled into their employer's scheme, they really should then be looking at sort of maybe taking independent financial advice from a qualified, up-to-date financial
Okay,
advisor.
Jackie, Lynn, Les, thank you all. We're already got to time for part one, but don't go away. We're back in part two. Hello, welcome back to In Business. Now, we've been looking at various aspects of setting up and growing a business over the last few weeks, and in this part of In Business, we're going to look at two cases in point. Andrew Mackay and Donna Thompson both run successful ventures in Liverpool. They're on the settee now, but first, we're going to have a look at what it is they do.
I recently launched Top Productions. I've been working in the industry from about the age of 9, and I'm 29 now, so I've got about 20 years of experience, and I thought it's about time to go and do it on my own, really. So what the company does is provides events or venues with entertainment through the night. So maybe it's a one-off event like a wedding, and I'll provide a function band. A lot of people are doing wedding dances, and they need people to come in and choreograph a wedding dance routine for them, pick a song, teach them the dance, so I'll do that. The difference that Top Productions has is that rather than just provide an hour or two of entertainment, we try and cater for the whole evening or the whole day. I was brought on as choreographer. It was done in a small space, then it was took to a bigger space. The owners at the Royal Court seen it in rehearsals and said, okay, we want to book it for a 2.5-week run at the theatre, and that's what brought us here. I'm currently hired as a choreographer for Max Emerson Productions. That's the company that have staged the musical, and my role is to come in rehearsals, change and adapt the choreography and the transitions between scenes for the show in a different space. I think it's important for people to collaborate because everyone brings in a fresh pair of eyes. I had somebody come in and just see the numbers for this show just at the end and just go, what do you think? And he'd go, well, there needs to be something in there. One of the songs is Son of a Preacher Man, and it's all about religion, but there was no religious kinds of visuals in there. So he said, you know, maybe put something in to show that that's what the song's about. When you've watched the song being danced 50 times, you don't think about that. And when it's your own project and it's your own thing, you might not think of things like that. Anyone who's starting out anything, get as much experience as you can, learn something about the business, the economy and your demographic, and then also just give it the right attitude, be proactive, get up every morning and go, right, I'm going to get up early, I'm going to do this, I'm going to focus on this. And if anyone is focusing purely on the entertainment industry, go out and shadow people, get in touch with someone. If you love their choreography or the direction, write to them and say, please can I come in and just watch you in rehearsals and watch the process from beginning to end, because you'll see things that you've never seen before.
Started about 3 years ago initially. We did walking tours around the city, and just it's been a gradual progression. Different people have been asking for different products, and we've just established the products and sell them as packages to the UK and international markets. We do all various tours depending on the group. We sell our packages business to business mainly to inbound groups into the city, so it really depends on what the group's looking for. We do themed packages, obviously Premier League football packages or Beatles packages, but also we do general Liverpool tours as well, just selling Liverpool as a city break destination. Originally it was walking tours around the city, and it's been a gradual progression. Different things that people have asked for, we've added them onto our product list, and it's just been quite organic really, the way that the business has grown. We market our business through Visit Britain and Explore GB, so we sell internationally as well as in Britain. I think the good thing about our company is we're based in Liverpool. We can react to any eventualities happening in the city. You know, if there's, for instance, a festival taking place, and there are many festivals happening in Liverpool, we know before the coaches come into Liverpool we might have to operate a different route, whereas other companies coming out with the city, they don't have that advantage. So that is our USP, I would say, is that we're locally based. I think really you've just got to know your market, really do a lot of market research, find out your competitors, look at other companies. Maybe, well, we couldn't look at anyone local because there's not anyone, but we looked at different companies in London and in Scotland. We looked at the successful ones and saw what they were doing, and we just took some of the best ideas from different places and put them together to operate the company the way that we want to do it. Our objective is to attract international and UK business to visit Liverpool as a city break destination. So we just want Liverpool to look fantastic as a city. We use social media a lot for promoting the company as well. We've got a large Twitter following now, and I would say we get about 25% of our business from our Twitter account now. We also use various different gazetteers and guides. We advertise in, it's quite a niche product, so we have to advertise in niche markets to let people know that we're available or we're here, and they'll contact us. But every tour is different. Every itinerary that we write is, there's no two the same.
Two very different businesses there. Jackie, Lynn, observations?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, welcome to you both. We know Andrew and Donna from the Business Development Club, so we've got a little bit of an insight into what you do as your businesses. The first thing I'd like to ask is from both of you, Donna, first of all, what inspired you to set up in business in Liverpool?
I think that originally we did walking tours, but people were asking for different products. I mentioned on the video, and it became an obvious idea really that there was a gap, and we just decided to fill it and create the products that people wanted to buy.
Brilliant. So it's listening to your customer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrew, over to you.
Kind of similar to Donna, but listening to other people. I've worked a lot outside of Liverpool, and I only returned recently within the last 2 or 3 years. and noticed how much the entertainment scene in Liverpool is actually thriving. There's so many theatres, there's so many music venues, there's so many festivals. If you want to go out on the weekends and do something in Liverpool, there is 100% something there for you to do, whether it's see a musical, watch a live band, go and watch a band at a festival. There's so much going on. And I thought, this is where I was born, this is where I was brought up, and now I want to come back and set it up here.
I'm going to ask you a question and put you on the spot now.
Okay.
I know a little story about how you started off. And I think it's a really inspiring story. So just quickly, tell us the story around Lipper.
So I came back to Liverpool and thought I needed to do a bit more training in musical theatre and theatre. So I applied for a course at Lipper. There was 4,000 applications for the acting in musical theatre course. I was offered a place out of 12. So I was quite lucky to get the place. I then had the task of finding the £9,000 course fee. And I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to knuckle down. So I did everything possible. I went and sold cakes. I organised cabaret nights. I approached people. I approached newspapers, celebrities. I raised about 4,000 through fundraising. And then luckily one of the contacts that I'd got in touch with, a very kind doctor, he doesn't want any recognition, so I'm not allowed to say his name, but he came back and said, I've seen everything that you're doing, how much are you short? When is it due? It was due the next day, and he said, I'll put it in your bank.
Wow. And what an inspiring story that is. And thank you to the doctor, even though he doesn't want to be named. Okay.
Indeed, yeah. Can I just ask, what have some of the challenges been setting up your own business? So Donna, again, ladies first, we'll come to you again first.
Challenges, I think really the challenges have been finding out exactly the products that people want.
Right, okay.
And it's been a good challenge though, because we've looked at various different, not competitors, people in different cities. I've been to visit, we're called a destination management company, so I've been to visit similar companies in London and Scotland, and spoke to them, and that's really been the challenge is piecing the business together, because originally, like I said, we were a walking tour company, so we had to decide exactly what we wanted to do, and that was the hard part. We had to strip the company right back down to nothing, myself and my business partner Neil, and build it into the company that it is just now. So the company's been going for 3 years, although this part has only been going for just under a year now.
But I think you're actually testament to the fact that it's really important in business to find out what your customers want and then to provide it, and that's what makes you successful.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
How about you, Andrew?
I think because the kinds of events and things that I cater to are one-off. It's a wedding. You know, if you're running a business, you can put advertisements out there because you know where your demographic is, but the demographic for the company, it's really hard to get hold of. So it's about, I've struggled to find wedding planners, event planners to work alongside. Obviously, they're going to start looking for people to provide entertainment, and I need to be the person who's there when they think of it. Yeah. So, you know, because it's a one-off event rather than a continuous rolling thing. You know, for example, Donna's...
Right, I've got to jump in once again. Time has beaten us. That's all we have time for this edition of In Business. Please feel free to email us with any issues you'd like us to address in future shows. From me, Jackie, Lynn, Andrew and Donna, however, that's it for now. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.